TC, Spiritual Shepherd. Welcome back, guys. Today we are getting into the Sacred Seven. The Sacred Seven. Okay, the sacred number 7. 777. You guys have heard of, the 7 chakras, or you guys have heard of the 7 seals of revelation, or you might have even heard of the 7 deadly sins. But do you guys know about the 7 heavenly virtues? Possibly. Do you guys know that there is 7 days of the week? Possibly. Do you guys know that there's the seed of life, which is connected to the 7? Possibly. So some of these things, guys, we have to also look into the cultivation of this and how they're interconnected. So I'm going to put up a lot of different pictures here that is going to help you follow along while I'm doing this, okay? And a lot of this stuff is the 7 virtues, okay? So we're going to get straight into it. This is the sacred 7, but ultimately, guys, this is interconnected with the 7 planets. The 7 planets. And as I start to get into the 7 planets, you're going to see that this is connected to the 7 alchemical metals. The 7 alchemical metals. Alchemy is magic, turning nothing into something, or turning something into something else. Okay, that is what alchemy is. And alchemy, these alchemical metals, is turning lead, base metals, into gold. Turning base metals into more precious metals. Turning base metals into more precious metals. Okay, so this is what Hermes Trismegistus would do, which is also thrice greatest. Thrice greatest meaning as in Trinity, not as triangle, trifecta, triunity. Okay, there's all these inner correlations between this. And the triunity is also recognized as Kether, Chokmah, and Bina. Bina is also recognized as Saturn, known as lead, okay? I want you guys to, and the feminine aspect of it. Then there's the masculine aspect, which is known as Chokmah, okay? And then the center, the top, is Kether, okay? So from Kether to Bina is the magician, the magi, okay? So I want you guys to really start to see that, but that is the triunity. That is the triunity. It's the feminine, the masculine, and the unison. Let me say that again. The feminine, the masculine, and the unison. Okay? That is the actual Kabbalion, or the Kabbalah aspect of the Trinity, or the triunity, or the trifecta. Okay? The 3 in 1. And it is at the very top of the Kabbalah, above the cross. You can see the cross down in the Kabbalah. Okay, now we're going to continuously move on. You guys have heard of the 7 seals of revelation. So the 7 seals of revelation, like the white horse and the red horse and the black horse and the pale horse, and then there's people crying out, and then there's earthquakes and all this other type of stuff, and then there's silence. Okay, silence represents the crown chakra. This is exactly proven in all of these aspects, in the chakras, and in consciousness, and in the cultivation of the meridians, and the nadi system, and all this type of stuff. Okay, and see, then there's 12 meridians, which is interconnected with the 12 systems. There's 12 bodily systems. So many things, so many multitudes of things. Okay, let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going. Then you guys have heard of the 7 deadly sins. So the 7 deadly sins are the negative aspects of the 7 chakras. The 7 heavenly virtues are the positive aspects of the 7 chakras, the 7 seals of revelation, because they're all the same thing, which is also the 7 rays of a rainbow, okay, from red to violet. And then there's ultraviolet, which is beyond, and there's infrared, which is below. And infrared is the unseen dark, and then the ultraviolet is the unseen light, okay? I hope that makes sense. You are within a 1% ratio of what you're truly seeing around you. So you might think that this is real, but there's 99% of things that are going on around you that you don't see, which is your emotions, your mentality, your spirituality, the connections between energies, electromagnetism, all of this type of stuff, feminine and masculine aspects of spirit. Okay, so you guys have heard, this is going to be the seed of life. So this is the seed of life. And this is known also as the 7 days of creation. The circle in the center, you can see the circle in the center is red. So when you draw all the 6 circles, okay, I'm going to keep getting to this. When you get to the 6 circles, okay, check this out. The 7th circle is automatically created from all of the center points of the other circles, from the other 6 circles, which is the day of rest, which is known as Shabbat in the middle. Okay, in the middle. And then that also creates the seed of life. That is the seed of life. Then you can also take the 3D aspect of the seed of life, and you can recognize that it is the egg of life. And you can see the seed and the egg are interconnected. Okay, then you can go a little bit farther. You could literally go a little bit farther. And you could see the fruit of life. You could see the aspects of the fruit of the Spirit. You could see the inner correlation of these types of things. Okay, so one big aspect of this, guys, is the 7 days of the week, the 7 planets, the 7 sacred vowels. Vowels hold words together. If there were no vowels, there would be no words. Okay? The 7 sacred vowels, the 7 alchemical metals, the 7 in Hanukkah. Okay, the 7 in Hanukkah, which also represents the 7 divine chakras. Okay, the 7 divine chakras, which is the 7 rays, the 7 seals, the 7 seals of revelation, the 7 heavenly virtues. So ultimately, on the positive aspect of the 7 is cultivating what we are to do. Okay, so did you guys know that every 7 years your body is a new body every 7 years? Every 7 years your body goes through a full restructure. It has monthly and daily like transformations. Like you create a stomach within, let's say, 13 days, a new stomach cells and all this type of stuff. But I mean, like, you genuinely build a new body over a 7-year cycle. Okay. Now, there's also the 7 planets, which is connected to the 7 alchemical metals. Like I just did the video, why we observe Shabbat, why we observe the Sabbath. Why do we do that? Because that is Saturn's day, which is represented as Satan's day, or lead day. Okay, lead in alchemical metals was turning lead into gold. Gold is known as soul, known as sun, known as the Son of God, meaning that God is our grand central sun, because the grand central sun is out of this dimensional realm. Okay, it is our sun's father in the physical, astronomical, and astrological aspect of the celestial aspect of our sun, our solar sun, known as soul and solar. They're interconnected, or Ra as in Ray. So a lot of Egyptians used to call that, Ra or Horus. Horus is meaning hours, meaning time. So there's a cultivation of that, and we're gonna get into the 12 too, the grand 12. But this is the obviously the one of 7. So the 7 heavenly virtues. You guys can see this. If you hit the 7 heavenly virtues, those are the opposite of the 7 deadly sins. But that's also the positive or the negative aspect of what? The 7 chakras, the 7 seals of revelation. The 7 seals of revelation. Silence is proven in Corona, which is what? Christ consciousness, or it is known as the crown. Okay, crown. Now, there's a big cultivation to the 7 rays of a rainbow. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. You could see the interconnection between the solfeggio frequencies. You could see even the connection between the 9 realms, of Norse, which is like Odin and Thor and Loki, and you could see the triunity in that too. You can even see the cultivation of God. You could see like darkness, or you could see lightness, darkness, and then you can see Thor in the middle, which is the thoracic spine, represented as the thoracic spine, and you could see that as an electromagnet. And then what does he operate? He's the god of thunder. Thunder follows lightning. It's electromagnetism. Thunder is the magnetism of the lightning from it striking. Okay, just so you guys understand this. And this is a big cultivation in this. I was lightning before the thunder. I know you guys are thinking it. So ultimately, y'all, the 7 sacred vows, you can see from Alpha to Omega, there are 7 sacred vows. And the 7 days of the week. Okay, you observe the 7th day. You observe the 7th day of Shabbat, meaning that you fast. You fast on those days. You observe on those days. You don't work on those days. And then that would be 52 days out of the year from the entire year. Then obviously, like we talked about, the sacred secretion, you fasting while the moon is in your sun sign for the 3 days similar to that, where you raise the Christ oil, and then during that you are actually fasting. I did the math. You are fasting for 25% of the year just on that. If you add intermittent fasting, which most people actually do, you can probably exponentially grow that, meaning that you are actually fasting half a year, which is actually very profound if you really think about it, in terms of the breatharian aspect, because Yeshua Christ, the Christed, was ultimately a breatharian. I mean, he literally didn't eat or drink for 40 days. So you guys can take that into that type of thing. Now you're going to see kind of right here the 7 in Hanukkah, the 7 alchemical metals, the 7 chakras. You're going to actually see that each of the 7, I forget exactly what it is, but it's like the lamp of Hanukkah, the lamp. Okay, and then each of those actually represents the 7 chakras, okay? The 7 chakras. And then the center one represents the heart. The other one represents the spine. The other one represents the physicality. You guys can see the cultivation of that, okay? Just like the planets too. Planets means plane it, okay? So there's different planes of existence. There's different planes of ETs. There's different planes of terrestrials. We are all terrestrial beings, okay? And so generally we would be an ET if we were to go to Jupiter. Does that make sense to people? So it's not actually far-fetched, and you have to start to think that it doesn't have to be physical beings, okay? They are electrical beings. They are spiritual beings. They are emotional beings. They are electromagnetic beings, okay? So Jupiter, okay? So Jupiter, this is the esoteric aspect. So Saturn, meaning Satan, okay? Now you can see the cultivation of this. Now with, like, say I go to Jupiter, well, the vibration of Jupiter, the actual vibration compared to Earth of the vibration of Earth, okay, it has not only a bigger gravitational pull, which means that it has a bigger electromagnetic resonance, okay, than this, okay. So that means that the beings that live there also have to be significantly more electrical than the people here. So people here, we might not be, they exist, but we might not be on the electrical resonance to be able to see that they exist. And that's why we would say, well, because I don't see it, I don't believe it. And that is not belief. That is not believing. Believing is seeing. Okay? So, or seeing is believing. Sorry. It's not believing is seeing. It's seeing is believing. So that is the cultivation of extraterrestrial planets. Just for you guys to comprehend that you have to start to see that instead of thinking that nobody else has life, think that every single other place everywhere has life. Like there are beings on the sun. Like there are beings who live on the sun. They are sun beings. They're soul beings. They're solar beings. Okay? And then so many things too, like the sun's a portal. You can go through it. So you can go through it and you could go to higher dimensions, like a white hole or a wormhole or a black hole or a multitude of that, where you could go through it and then you would go to the other side where there would be God, G-A-D, okay? And going to that aspect, you would actually see the grand central sun, or you'd see other dimensions where they would be more in 5D. And then that sun, our sun, would be rotating around their sun, the grand central sun, which is more of like a 25,000 year cycle or 26,450 year cycle or something like that. But it's in divine sacred vibration. It's actually in divinity. So it's emitting in divinity. So this is the Sacred 7. This is the Sacred 7. I'm not going to have this go too long, but ultimately really look into this. And I actually don't believe that this is a coincidence, okay? I mean, and you can even see the 7 seas, crossing the 7 seas. Why is that such a famous line? I mean, there might be 8 wonders of the world. I think it's the 7 wonders of the world. Why is it 7? Why is it 7? Why do they stop at 7? Why are there only 7 continents? Okay, there's a multitude of things. Now you can go into the 777. Check out 7 circles. I did a fantastic video with that guy, but okay, let's kind of read these off at the end and then we'll do the conclusion. So the 7 heavenly virtues, the 7 deadly sins, which is the representation of the chakras, the 7 seals of revelations, which is the 7 chakras, or the 7 chakras are the 7 seals of revelation. It's the same thing. Okay, the 7 rays of the rainbow, same thing. 7 days of creation, it's the same thing. 7 seed of life is the days of creation. So the 7, the seed of life, the fruit of life, the egg of life, okay, is the intercorrelation between that. The 7 cycle, every 7 years a new body is formed. Very interesting. The 7 sacred vowels. So vowels hold all other words together, at least in Latin. And Latin is a light language, but that means that any light language that creates other languages, those become shadow languages, just so you guys comprehend that. So if you speak in direct Latin, it's a light language. 7 alchemical metals, which is also connected to the 7 planets, which is also connected to the 7 days of the week, noting like Shabbat, observing Shabbat, Sabbath, or Saturn's day, Satan's day. So you would fast on that day. What? Because you're fasting from Satan, you're fasting from parasites, you're fasting from lead, you're fasting from those types of alchemical processes that are in that. And not only that, but when you fast from that, that is like a day of structure. It's a day of like that type of thing. So like imagine that you're already structured and then that's the day of structured. I want you to think about the reverse psychology on that if you're on the day of structure and you don't have to do anything and you're chilling and everything's structured because you did it on Friday, okay, if you did it on Friday and you set yourself up for the next week, what kind of mentality and psychology that is actually cultivating. So that's a big thing. Then so the 7 alchemical metals, which is connected to alchemy, to the magi, to the magician, to, I mean, those are the beings that observed Christ, that walked to see, baby Jesus, baby Yeshua, and the 7 in Hanukkah, and the 7 chakras. So those are all the 7 that most people, they might know 1 or 2 of them, but I find it very interesting that they're all interconnected, and you're going to see all these things, and you're going to see all these different types of, and like they're divine. Like it's like these things are so divine. It's like I am honored. I'm honored. We just did the 7 virtues of Bushido. I am honored to be able to share this type of information with you guys because this is so profound for the psychology and for the even the philosophy. It will help transform your brain. You'll be a little bit more open-minded. You'll be like, all right, maybe I don't know as much as I think that I know. And I'm not saying that what you believe is wrong. I'm saying that you can probably go deeper. That's all I'm saying. Peace, much love, namaste. Talk to you guys soon in the next one. Stay tuned for some of these other codes that I get into. Everything's in the description.